All right, so this first topic is going to be about Disney Genie Plus. Let's get into it. Disney Genie and Disney Genie Plus is officially launched at the Disneyland Resort in California. Genie is a free itinerary planner that helps guests navigate through their day with personalized schedules and recommendations to help get the most out of their Disney theme park day. However, the system is most recognized for its premium service, Genie Plus. This service replaces the former FastPass Plus system with a newly redesigned premium experience that costs $20 per guest per day. For more information about this Genie and Genie Plus service, by the way, you can check out our previous video we released about the service. That'll be linked down below. The Genie system has been formally unveiled at the Walt Disney World Resort back in October of 2021 to mixed guest reviews. But with the history of the system in Orlando, Sean, how do you think that it will perform at Disneyland in California?
You know, it's so funny, which is one thing I'm not going to say many times today, because I said that so many times in the last episode. All I can really say is I personally actually have not used Genie Plus yet, or Genie, or any of those fun things that have been recently introduced at the Walt Disney World Resort. I can say I have used Max Pass at Disneyland Resort.
Yeah, it's very similar.
It's very similar, and I really enjoyed it. I was able to schedule a large amount of rides between both Disneyland and then also Disney California Adventure in the same day, and I realize it's obviously much different as far as the geographical landscape at that resort, because both those parks are literally, I think they're across the Esplanade.
Oh, yeah.
It is a fun,
Something
fancy
like
word.
that. The Esplanade.
But I think it's the Esplanade. Someone recently told me and I can't remember. But it's nice.
Furiously leave the comment down below about what it is.
Like, I think it's the Esplanade. It's something.
Okay, something, yeah.
So with an E. And it's nice because you can actually just walk back and forth. You know, obviously at Walt Disney World, you can't walk anywhere. You have to drive or take a tram.
Well, I mean, you can.
You can.
It's just
it would take you like a year. It'd be your whole vacation would
Disney
be a walk.
forced me to walk. Sorry, this is a side note. Disney forced me to walk between Epcot and Hollywood Studios twice now. Did I tell you the story about the first time? Okay, this is, we're going to go on a tangent here, and I'll let you get back to your thought in just a second, but this is part of the podcast now.
Yes, it is. It's critical.
Yeah, so I was with some friends that had never been on the Skyliner before.
Yeah.
And we were at
Disney Skyliner.
The Disney Skyliner.
Yeah.
And we were at Hollywood Studios for the day, but a friend of mine had never been on it, so I was like, let's go on the Skyliner and catch Harmonious and then take the Skyliner back. So we walked up to the Skyliner. The Skyliner said that on the way back it closed, so the way to Epcot closed at 10:30.
Yeah. But
the way back closed at 11.
So this was the station at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Yes, the station at Disney's Hollywood Studios closed it at 10:30 to depart.
Yes.
But the returning line closed at 11 p.m.
Okay.
And we asked a team member or a cast member up front, and they confirmed, yeah, you're good. If you go to Epcot, you will be good to come back. That's what they told us. And so we're like, awesome. We left, we did the show, we saw it, everything. We're coming back, and we're in line, and the cast member's yelling, oh, it only goes to the resort. It does not go to Hollywood Studios.
You're at Epcot.
Excuse me? And so, of course, then we go over to the friendship boats, and we're like, well, we'll just take a friendship boat back. And they're like, oh, well, the friendships the boats close too. So they're only going, so we had missed, like, this close. We had missed the friendship boats.
The friendship boats. Yeah.
So, yeah. Aww. And that is now the second time that has happened to me. And I made the mistake the first time of not asking, just assuming like, they're like, Disney wouldn't do that to their guests.
But they did it to you.
So they did it to me. And then the second time I learned from that mistake, and I even asked several cast members. So you can walk from park to park at Disney World. It's just is like 2 miles.
And no one actually really likes to do it.
And no one wants to do
Yeah.
it.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry for that detour.
I'm sorry for you. That sounds so horrible. I would have cried literally in the parking lot.
It was a lot.
That,
It was like
that sounds like you got your steps in.
Oh yeah, I
You
did.
closed
definitely
all
did.
the rings on your Apple
I actually
Watch.
walked more than a half marathon that day.
I believe.
Not even joking. Yeah.
Really. That sounds so terrible. I really am so sorry for you. But
It's a story to tell though.
it
was
is.
it was
No,
fun. It was
you know,
fun.
We're gonna laugh about
Yeah.
that, I'm sure, in the next few episodes. But no, you know what? I will say it's nice there. I mean, I haven't used it here. I'm glad they brought it back there because I'm sure the next time I visit, I'm probably gonna use it.
Well, there are some changes from MaxPass.
From MaxPass to Genie Plus.
Genie Plus. Yeah, it's essentially the same exact service that we have here. There are some changes in the sense of like over here, one of the added bonuses for Genie Plus is you get like some AR filters that you can use on your phone. Where over there, instead of the AR filters, you get unlimited PhotoPass downloads.
Oh wow!
So they get it a little bit better than we do. And with the selected individual attraction add-on for the Lightning Lane, here we have 2 rides in each park that you have to pay for. Over there's only 3 total, and that's Rise of the Resistance, Radiator Springs Racers, and the Spider-Man attraction.
Oh wow!
So for those you have to pay. And the other difference for that is here the price limit goes up to $15. Over there the price limit goes up to $20 per person per attraction.
Yeah.
So there are some slight changes, but for the most part it's the same exact system that we have here. So, and that's a little different than MaxPass because MaxPass was like...
It was a flat rate.
It was a flat rate, but
day,
it was adding on to FastPass and made
Yeah.
FastPass better. This is just FastPass, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they killed MaxPass and then they just put a price tag on FastPass.
Yeah.
Kind of. So...
Well, I mean... You know what? A lot of people are upset over over Genie Plus in general, and I understand that. And I mean, it's all a very tricky situation. It's weird because you could argue at like the Universal Parks, Express has been around, I believe, since the beginning of those parks. Or
very close.
Very close to the beginning.
They actually had a Fast Pass system at Universal for a few years where it was like a free system like Fast Pass.
Because their Express, it's like $80, or it could, like I was at Universal Hollywood back in August, and I think it was $130 for me.
Yeah.
In addition to my day pass ticket.
Oh,
so that's remarkably expensive in comparison to
very expensive
Genie Plus or whatever, or the Lightning Lane, however you want to, acquire one of those special passes. So I mean, I see both sides to it. It is true that it is more expensive to visit the Disney parks, but I guess it's more expensive, I feel like, at the Universal parks to have priority access to attractions. So, I mean, you could, I guess, balance it either way.
Yeah.
I'm sure Disney's probably more expensive. It is. I know it is. But, it is just a weird trade-off, and it's a weird change. It is.
Well, yeah, there are some pros and cons to those systems.
Yeah.
One of the pros with Express Pass at Universal is that, like you're saying, it is more expensive, but you get direct access to the line.
Yeah,
where
whenever.
If you have Express, all you have to do is you walk up to that ride, you show them the card, they scan it, they let you in. There's no booking the reservation and coming back in 2 hours when your reservation is. It's like, no, you just walk up and you scan it.
At your leisure.
And, at your leisure. And you can do that at any attraction. And those attractions won't book up. Where at Disney, sure, you're paying $15 here, $20 at Disneyland. Sure, you're paying less, but you can only book one reservation at a time, unless 2 hours, unless that reservation is more than 2 hours out. After 2 hours has passed, you can book another reservation. But it's all reservation based, and those reservations do fill up.
That is true as well.
So, I honestly actually prefer the Universal system over
the Genie
Plus.
Yeah.
But that's also because the price makes it a little bit more exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you see less ramifications for the priority in line. A lot of the big issue with FastPass, the way it was with FastPass Plus, where it was on every single attraction and all that, the big issue with that was the FastPass line had such a priority that it actually backed up the standard line for so long.
Yeah.
And the fact that everyone had access to FastPass meant that FastPass line was always full, which meant that the standard standby line was always backed up. And then after, when we saw the Disney parks without FastPass for a few months when the parks reopened, we actually saw the opposite of that, where there were massive lines, but the wait time was so short.
Yeah.
Because FastPass wasn't a thing, FastPass wasn't blocking up that line. But the barrier to entry with Disney Genie Plus is so minimal that fans are, or the Disney park fans are upset that now you have to pay for it, but it's still so minimal that the vast majority of people are still paying for Genie Plus. So we're coming back to that point where those lines really do clog up the standby lines, where the way that operations work at Universal, it's a little bit more exclusive, so you're not seeing such a long priority line. So like I said earlier, there's some pros and cons to both systems, for sure. But I don't know. With Universal, you actually do get, you're paying a lot more.
Yeah.
But that system is so much more beneficial than Disney Genie Plus. We've been seeing, a ton of different vloggers do videos where they're like, does Disney Genie Plus really make you ride so many more rides? And they're comparing a day with Genie Plus versus without it. And some vloggers, are only riding 1 or 2 rides more in a day.
Now, I've seen influencers where they're all booked up.
Yeah.
All the Genie
and they
Plus
actually ride less rides
or there's just none. And they're just I'm going to leave the park because this was a waste of money. Getting in. I've seen that. It's all very tricky. One thing I will say with with literally 2 months ago when it was Halloween, as it is Christmas, of course, now. But one thing I did notice, which actually really surprised me, visiting Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights event with our frequent fears, obviously, you and I both went many, many times.
All the time.
But one thing I noticed, which I don't think I'd ever noticed before, was that the lines for the Express was the longest I'd ever seen it.
Yeah.
And there were some houses where the line for Express was longer than that of the line for
the standby.
Yeah. And that was so crazy to me because I know how expensive their Express is. So that, granted, I don't know what it's like on the daily. I can't assume it's like that. But it's interesting that I feel like we are moving. I feel like the theme park culture is moving to this space of everyone wanting to feel this sense of priority, which I completely understand. And it's a lot of people who come to visit the parks here are typically out of towners who are potentially coming, once in a lifetime or once every year or once every 3 years, what have you. So it's interesting, I guess, to see that change. Yeah. That was a bizarre dynamic for me, seeing such extreme amounts of Express, because even for that, it's still pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's $80.
It is, yeah. In addition to the park ticket per person, so it's a very weird. We're in a weird time.
What I've been seeing is that the theme parks have been growing in such popularity, which is great for the industry because that means that the more successful the parks are, the more amazing new attractions the parks are willing to put in, the budgets go up, the experiences get better. That's awesome. But because they're becoming so popular, the shift of the focus of the parks has gone away from a lot of like local attention, like how do we make the experience the best for the locals that come here all the time, to now how do we make the best experience possible for those people that are coming out of town,
from across the world.
Literally, so it's
yeah.
becoming a lot more of an exclusive kind of thing, where it's, if you want to have a good experience, you need to buy this extra exclusive add-on, which makes it difficult for the people that live in that area,
or the locals.
For the locals to kind of have those experiences too. But
we want it all.
We want it all. We are so spoiled.
And you know what? Let me say this, and I'm people are gonna hate me, but I'm just gonna say it's funny because, and this is the last thing that's funny, I promise. But
we'll see about that.
I know so many annual pass holders who have been annual pass holders for some decades, like very long periods of their lives. And they do feel a sense of, I don't want to say entitlement, but this sense of almost like, I don't like that word, entitlement.
Superiority.
It's not, I guess maybe just this loyalty that they have to the parks, and this feeling of like, I've supported this company for so long. I come here, I love it. I guess there is this feeling of superiority that they deserve more. And I get that to certain extents, but I think it's hard because, unfortunately, as much as we'd like to think that's how this business operates, it's not. It's not based on loyalty or how much you give your life to these parks or how much you promote it or what have you. Whatever you do, unfortunately, at the end of the day, I think it is a business, and the House of Mouse is just looking to feed itself. It is, and I get that too, because that ultimately that is their goal, is to make money. But it so going, I guess, back to this change of this priority line situation, Genie Plus. It is frustrating, and I get that. And for the annual pass holders who've been annual pass holders for so long, who have had access to free perks like Fast Pass Plus, which was really nice because it was just available based on, first come, first serve, which I was fine with as well. And and it could be argued that maybe we could probably go back to that. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we could. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It depends on how the system plays out.
But
I have heard rumors that Genie Plus is not performing as well as they expected it to.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, if it continues to not do as well as they projected, maybe there's a potential that they reevaluate the system.
Because we're at this point where you already have to schedule your day, sometimes months in advance, just to get access to getting in the park.
Into the parks, yeah.
If you are, of course, an annual pass holder. But even, to be fair, sometimes even just as a day guest, the parks can fill up and you may not be able to visit.
I mean, that's been a big frustration of mine lately. It's just been the reservation system. Because, I mean, like, of course, I'm coming from the perspective of an annual pass holder, but I have heard some horror stories of people who, they book a trip and they come out here and they buy day passes, but there are some parks that are unavailable on the day that they bought those day passes. So you're paying for a park hopper, where pre-reservation system, that park hopper could get you into any park that you wanted, like the 4 parks that are there. But now it's like,
it's not available.
It's not available. Yeah. So your options are Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios. Which one do you want to go to?
No, you're right.
So it is kind of frustrating, and especially from a annual pass standpoint, like the reason why you have a pass is so that you could just go whenever you want.
Yeah.
There will be days where I will have someone randomly text me and be like, "Hey man, you want to go to like whatever park?"
Yeah.
And
Epcot.
Yeah. Prior, it would always be like, you want to go to Epcot, you want to like hang out at Magic Kingdom, because like those parks usually close pretty late.
Yeah.
But ever since COVID hit, the only parks that I've ever been like, hey, you want to like hang out at is Universal. Because you don't need a reservation to go to Universal,
Yeah.
you know? Disney, it is so hard for there to be that access, and that's one of the perks of having an annual pass is that you can do that.
Yeah.
And it is becoming increasingly harder to do that. I think I've only been able to do that once in the last year and a half that we've had this system now.
Yeah.
It's just once being able to randomly decide, yeah, I think we're going to the parks today.
You know what? I will say it feels like, and I'm not like a theme parks forecaster. I don't, know all the, I guess, what is the word? The trends that lead to growth and, visitation at the parks. But I will say one thing I've noticed ever since the opening of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, like with the Rise of the Resistance and the other ride I don't care that much about. What is it called?
Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run. It's interesting because it feels like there has just been this extreme desire of people of all kinds to just flock to these parks here.
Yeah.
And it does feel like more people... I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know the actual numbers, but I'd like to think it really is just because there's that many people visiting that they're being so limiting to so many people. That's the only logical explanation I could have for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure.
I don't know. But it's annoying. It's tough. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to be fair. Maybe I'm being a wimp. I don't know.
Well, I think that, I think it's fair to have criticisms.
Yeah. No, of course.
Like,
yes.
I
I want to go whenever I want to go.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
I
like
do.
if we're paying so much for a pass, we should be able to.
It was like I think $650-ish for what for my
Which is a lot.
gold. That's a lot of money. It is to go anywhere.
Yeah. I will say, like, I think it is fair to have criticisms and to be able to voice your criticisms of the parks. But, the other day I went to Hollywood Studios with a group of friends, and, I've been very critical of Disney over the last 6 months or so, maybe a little longer than that. I've been very critical of Disney and the way that they're operating and the way that they're changing things. And I just don't think it's in the best interest of the theme park goers. But when I was there the other day, like the moment I walked into the parks and I was hanging out with my friends, it was like all of that faded away.
The magic.
And it was just the magic, and like that experience engulfed us.
Yeah.
And like that is what the parks are about. And so I think it's fair to criticize.
Yeah.
But I just say, like, speak your mind, speak your opinion, but don't let those things affect the way that we love the parks.
The way you experience
the
it.
way
yeah.
you experience it.
Yeah.
Like,
and what it
allow
means
it to be magical and
Yeah.
allow it to take you away from this world for the time being. I love it. But to bring it back to Disney Genie Plus real quick, we'll move on to the next subject soon. But I honestly don't have too many issues with Disney Genie Plus. And I said this in the video that I made, like the informational video that I made about what is Disney Genie Plus. I actually don't hate the idea of it that much. The thing that bothers me about it, though, is just how complicated it is
to do it. And I understand that. Yeah.
There are just so many barriers to entry to even exist at a Disney park now. Like, if you're just a casual fan, like, the process of, okay, you bought a ticket, but now you have to get a reservation. Now that you're in the park, if you want Fast Pass, well, we don't just do Fast Pass anymore. Now you have to buy this Disney Genie Plus. But you have to buy it the day of, and you have to buy it when you're at the parks. Oh, and now that you have it, like, you can use it at every attraction except for this one. If you want to use this one, then you have to pay for this. And, oh, well, I know you paid for it, but, like, you can't just use it. You have to, like, schedule your thing.
Yeah.
And sorry if we're booked up. Like, it's too complicated.
Now, even if you want to eat, I mean, that itself is so difficult.
Yeah, if you want to eat, like,
booking
the
a
other
dining
day,
reservation
I was at
mobile order.
Yeah, I was at Epcot the other day, and the purpose of being there was get food, watch Harmonious.
Yeah.
And we went to Regal Eagle, and we were so excited, like, let's eat. And then we got there, and we were so caught up in like the experience and the magic that like we totally forgot. Oh right, we have to order on our phone.
Yeah.
So now we're like standing in front of the place and just like staring at our phones like idiots, and like, but we're like standing off to the side, and like it was such an awkward kind of like, I don't know, like I
snap out of the fantasy.
Yeah. And I wish that they would either remove the mobile ordering, or like at least let you go and sit down inside of the restaurant while you mobile order or something. Like the fact that we were just like having to stand on the side of the street doing it was very strange. But
you feel like you're intruding.
Yeah.
Even though you're literally paying to be there. So it is awkward. No, and I get that.
Yeah. But that's enough about that. I feel like we talked in circles about the parks and touched a little bit on Disney Genie.
We have a lot of feelings.
We have a lot of feelings about the state.
We're going to cry the second the camera gets turned off the screen. Right?
It's been very emotional. But yeah, we will turn it over to you guys. Disney Genie Plus, the state of the parks. What are your thoughts? Are you excited or kind of disappointed that Disney Genie Plus is now a thing at Disneyland? If you are a Disneyland local, definitely let us know what you think. If you've used Disney Genie Plus, how's it working over there? We would love to know your thoughts.